Happy Fragrant Friday, Fraghead. Hey everybody, this is Ben here at That Cologne Guy, coming at you with another review. Happy Fragrant Friday. Of course, I'm welcoming you to the weekend because I have new content every single Friday just for you. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying safe, healthy, and positive. And again, if you're watching this and it's not a Friday, always remember here at TCG, it is always a Friday. My friends, you've seen the title and you've seen the description, so you know this is none other than Huron by Duke Cannon Supply Company. A couple things about this house, Duke Cannon Supply Company. I have talked about a number of things. I think I'll concentrate on 4 quickly because I reviewed Seneca last week from this house. So I mentioned a lot of these points. Let me just quickly say them. Number 1, the marketing scheme here, proper cologne. This is not a cheap drugstore cologne. A lot of their soap products will say like this is a big. It will say like big ass bottle of Seneca. Clearly, the marketing here is towards middle schoolers and high schoolers, and the notion of being a direct competitor to Axe. The second thing is they do not test their products on animals, so a lot of people will be interested in their products because of that. The third thing is a portion of the proceeds of this company go to U.S. veterans, and that's always a good thing. And then last but not least, because the good news just keeps on a-coming, this is a heartfelt gift from my beloved aunt, Mary Jones. So I really appreciate that. She gave me this, and it has 3 fragrances. Last week I did Seneca. I chose Huron this week because it is also an aquatic, and then next week I have 1 more left that is not an aquatic. So I'm looking forward to that one. So let's talk about the nomenclature. Not much to say here too much about the house because I've already discussed it. But I will say about the name is, of course, you will be thinking of the Great Lakes in North America, of Lake Huron. Now, Huron is a Native American tribe, and they speak Iroquois. So we're talking about along the St. Lawrence River, and of course, most people will think that is the origin of the name. Is my point for Huron is a Native American tribe, and they speak Iroquois. When you hear Huron, many people, of course, will immediately associate it with the Great Lake, Lake Huron. And of course, this is an aquatic water lake, Huron. And of course, you know where I'm going to go with this. Indeed, there is a connection to 90s Freshie. Okay, blue bottle. Okay, Tuscaloosa got it this week. Cool water. So we will be checking out this one in detail in just a second, but there is that nod to the 90s Freshies. So when it comes to the notes, of course, they offer them. So I just have here, my in-depth analysis, which is the back of this. They say aquatic, sandalwood, and vetiver. Don't have too much to say about the notes, but what I will say is this. The sandalwood and vetiver are just enough to bring this away from a full-on aquatic. Here's the good news. The good news is the sandalwood and the vetiver really give it a little bit more mature feel to this aquatic in a good way. The bad news, of course, is when you have an aquatic that smells like cool water, it is going to be a tad generic. I mean, it is. There won't be a lot of people probably who have like a burning desire to specifically have this scent. It smells nice. It is inoffensive. It's a crowd pleaser. It smells nice. And of course, the problem with the crowd pleasers for some people, especially if you're in frag com, and if you are a collector and into fragrances, is this one might not have a ton of personality. I do like this one though. I like it a lot. I just wanted to point that out. So let's talk about what it smells like. When it comes to smelling like a particular fragrance, so it smells. It harkens back to the days of the 90s Freshies. Okay, so let's look at this. In the 70s, you had Saturday Night Fever. You had, our open shirts, button down, showing off the hairy chest. We had gold chains. We had disco, and we had civet. You had a lot of animalic scents, right? So they were uber masculine, absolutely singeing nasal hairs type of fragrances that were very animalic, and cleared out a room, unforgettable, uber masculine, etc., etc. So obviously there's a lot of people in Fragcom who love those vintage fragrances and feel like everything after the 80s, I'll get to that in a second, really are almost like an extension of deodorant and dryer sheets and things like that. They don't like them. Cleaning products, okay? So let's look at the 80s. The 80s are called 80s powerhouses. You get into things like Polo. And again, you get into very strong smelling, unforgettable, distinct fragrances, and so that's why the people who like vintage fragrances love them so very much. I like them a lot. I of course I do. I like them a lot. Here's the deal, though. The C parts when it comes to the 90s freshies, because the 90s were kind of a backlash to the 70s and 80s of these raw, masculine, testosterone-induced, in-your-face fragrances. So the 90s were citrus-based aquatics. I mean, the ones that we remember, a lot of them, right? Not all, of course, but I just mean there was a wave of popularity starting off probably with Cool Water, which might have been even in 1989 release, but it's associated, you get my point, with the 90s. So you get L'Odyssée by Issey Miyake, Acqua di Gio, don't criticize it. You get a lot of aquatics coming in, and they are incredibly popular. A lot of the collectors, people in Fragcom, do not like. I would not have that rubbish. They hate, they abhor, they detest the 90s freshies. I love them. I really like them a lot. I understand what they're saying. They're saying is, do we really want to smell like Mr. Clean? Do we want to smell like cleaning products? Do we want to smell like deodorant, detergent? If you look at something like Tommy Hilfiger, again, people will slam them on Fragrantica and on base notes because for them they lack character, they lack personality. I don't think so. I don't agree with that. I don't have any problem with the out of shower, citrus based, doesn't have to be, but oftentimes aquatic fragrances. I don't have any problem at all. When I wear L'Odyssée by Issey Miyake, do I feel like I'm wearing like an extension of N-Dust, like after I've dusted my house? I do not. I really like the 90s freshies. But you need to know that this is definitely an homage to Cool Water and all of its accompanying friends from the 90s freshies crowd. So if you do not like those, you will not like this one. I like them, and I really like this one a lot. The good news continues for me because last week Seneca did not have good longevity. This one has quite good longevity, sillage, and projection. So when it comes to the longevity, this is an EDP, recall. These are EDPs, 10 milliliter. And I have a ton left in here. This will definitely get you, most people could get a month out of these things. I was trying to burn through these in a week, but I still have a lot left. So if you're on vacation for 2, 3, up even to 4 weeks, you'd be able to get, so 10 milliliters, to give you an idea, is 1/10 of a normal bottle, right? A normal standard bottle is 3.4 ounce, which is 100 milliliters, and this is 10 milliliters. So this is 1/10 of a bottle. Should easily get most people a month out of that. So I'm really happy with that. These are EDPs. So they should perform quite well. Eau de parfum, of course. And so I got 6 to 8 hours out of this. I'm very happy with that. Coming in and out of the outdoors, very happy. My watch band smells, to this moment actually, from yesterday, still smells like Huron, and I really like that. It did well. I'm happy with 6 to 8. It's much closer to 6, though. You need to know that. But I'm happy that I'm approaching a work shift, because that's kind of my the standard, the gold standard here at that Cologne guy. So 6 to 8 hours, closer to 6, very happy with that. This is a kind of fragrance that will be great for many events. And I see this one as, with the vetiver and the sandalwood, but principally the vetiver, I see this as a slightly more mature, older brother, I guess you would say, to Seneca. So if last week's Seneca was, think middle school, 8th grade formal, getting braces on, giggles abound, Minecraft, et cetera, et cetera. Then Huron is going to be the older brother to this, and I see the age for this fragrance really set for 14 to 25. I think in terms of marketing, it's clear, like when they say, like, big ass bottle of Huron on their soap and stuff, their marketing is clearly geared towards young men. And so if we're saying Seneca is 11, 12, 13 ish, then we're also going to say this, to me, is more for high school, 14 to 18, and then on up until the very first, perhaps even first paid internship. So I'll say something like 14 to 25 is going to be the target audience in terms of this fragrance as part of one group. The second group is going to be people like me who absolutely just love 90s freshies. If you love 90s freshies and you just want to smell crisp and well put together and just out of the shower and fresh, then there you have it. This will work certainly for you. In fact, let me read the description. Last week, you might recall, if you saw, I was extremely offended by Seneca's description because they said, it smells like venturing outdoors after a fresh rainfall, not the hot tub at the O'Hare Best Western. I stayed at the Best Western in O'Hare, and it is quite nice indeed. Can't speak to the hot tub, though. Huron this week is aquatic, and it says, smells like navigating an open stretch of fresh water. Fresh water. Wink, wink. Not a poorly maintained retention pond in Jacksonville. So for the folks out there in Jacksonville, Florida, I do apologize for their little joke. I've never been to a retention pond in Jacksonville, so I can't speak to that. But I will say that. So obviously, if we're looking at Lake Huron, if we're looking at fresh water, we're looking at aquatics. They are dancing dangerously close indeed to, you guessed it, hashtag cool water. If you are 40 and up, I can guarantee you had at least one bottle of cool water if you are. In fact, I would even say if you haven't, you're not a real frag head. That's what I would say. That's my statement of the day for you. 40 and up, you've clearly had, I think I had about 28 bottles of cool water. It had its time, of course. I grew out of it, but it was one of my staples in the 90s. I really enjoy that fragrance. It is recognizable. A buddy of mine wears it still to this day, and every once in a while when I will see him at a party, I can immediately pick up that he's wearing cool water. Davidoff Cool Water was the proverbial game changer, right? It took, because I think it was an 89 release. Either way, it took us away from the 80s powerhouses into either the darkest of the days, if you don't like 90s freshies, or indeed of wonderful times, if you do. Some of them I don't like, of course, but in general, yes, I sign off on hand on heart. I can say that I do like them a lot. In fact, my favorite one of all time is Aqua di Gio, for crying out loud. So, and it is yours as well. So this is Huron. This is a 2019 release. When you say something like it smells like cool water, of course you're going to get a reaction of, relatively generic. Are there a lot of serious collectors out there in the fragrance world who have this as their signature scent? Probably not. But if you want to take a walk down memory lane and you haven't worn a freshie for a long time, then you know what? In fact, it's a 90s freshie. In fact, you're on imagine this: you're on vacation. You're thinking, you know what? I have not had a 90s freshie for a while. Let me take a walk down memory lane. Pop on in, put on some 90s hip hop, okay, and then sing with me. And you can say, "Are you down with TCG? On me with harmony." What song is that? That better be from the 90s. If that's from the 80s, that's going to hurt because I referenced it as 90s hip hop. Let me know what that song is, and do not look that up. Okay, so that would be really the second group. We got a high school, college, up until about 24, 25, first paycheck, first paid internship, and then we're going to move on to something more sophisticated probably. The second crowd will be the 90s freshies taking a walk down memory lane. And then you have, of course, if you remember from last week, they do not test on animals, so we have some people who are going to be buying this product principally because they like to smell great on the cheap, and they don't test on animals. So those are wonderful qualities. And then the fourth one would be a group of people who, again, want to smell fantastic, don't want to spend a lot of money, and a portion of the proceeds go to U.S. veterans. So there's what I like about this company. The marketing's not really my thing. I'm not going to lie here. I mean, that's not, I'm not really the target group for like the main thing, though, for this is I like the diversity of the crowd that could have this, because you've got people looking for no cruelty to animals, U.S. veterans, you've got 90s freshies, and then you've got, of course, just, the younger crowd wanting to smell something that's different than Axe. So there's a lot of diversity here amongst the Duke Cannon Supply Company crowd. All right, so let's move on to, I've talked about longevity. Well, I guess projection would be an arm's length away for the first 2 to 3 hours, did quite well, and then it'll settle down a little bit. You could over-apply on this one, unlike Seneca, so be careful with that. Very happy overall with the projection and longevity. Coming in and out of rooms for the sillage, you will definitely get picked up and noticed. After I sprayed this, after hours in my bathroom, you could still smell this fragrance just in the bathroom itself, unlike Seneca. So I'm very happy. Again, if you went to an event, don't be surprised if somebody compliments you or comments on your fragrance. Okay, so when it comes to the gender, you can tell by the marketing. I mean, if you're talking about, F-150, Monster Burger, things like that, this kind of in-your-face masculine marketing, you're going to see about an 85-15 split on this. This is an aquatic. It's going to be with vetiver, okay? And so this is about 85% will be men owning this fragrance who actually went out and bought it, requested it, wanted it. It's their signature scent, and 15% on the women's side. It is a classic 90s freshy masculine scent. So when it comes to event, I think, again, just like last week with the aquatics, the type of fragrance will always trump the event. So what I mean by that is, if you like the freshies, you will wear this anywhere. It's that simple, right? So if you wore Cool Water, you're going to pretty much wear it everywhere. If you don't like 90s freshies, of course, you won't buy this in the first place. I don't know that this is the most romantic. I mean, I can't say that I would wear this like on a first date, or a romantic night out. I would say this is not a clubbing scent, but if you remember 90s freshies, you're probably, you probably have more Voltaren cream on your back than you do club tickets. So you're probably not clubbing anymore. And then I don't know if I'd wear this to a really, really formal, like suit and tie event. I don't know if this would be what I would choose for that. It's perfect for the summer and spring, for that matter. Absolutely perfect. It's also perfect for, informal social events and work as well. So again, you're going to get almost a work shift out of it. So it's highly versatile. I shouldn't say highly, it is quite versatile, asterisk, if you like the freshies in the first place. So there you have it. That is Huron. This is a 2019 aquatic. Really, the worst thing you can say, anytime you get crowd pleasers, the worst thing you can say is, probably not going to be the most, chock full of character and personality, and that is definitely this one. That said, I've really enjoyed it. It smells quite nice, and it actually smells relatively closely to one that I love, which is Blue by Bulgari. And if you haven't seen it, they always put the U with the Roman, or of course Latin V, and so it looks like Blove by Bulgari, but it's Blue by Bulgari. Love that one, and it's been sadly discontinued. So if you are a Blue by Bulgari fan, this might be something, well, you should definitely check it out because it's inexpensive anyway, but this might be something close to that realm. Certainly not as good, definitely not, but it's something close to that. And when I wore it this week, it brought me back fond memories, because I love Blue by Bulgari. And then, of course, Cool Water, and the list goes on. So I really enjoyed wearing this fragrance. I am going to give this a 3 out of 5 in terms of my rating. And you might say, well, you really like this one a lot more than Seneca last week, and that was 3 out of 5. True. That said, though, I can't. 3 out of 5 for me. Some I would put in my collection. Some I don't. I don't know that it would make it in there. Seneca last week. I can't. I don't know that it would make it in to my rotation. This one would, though. This is a 3 out of 5. It's riding the coattails of the '90s freshies. It's not the most original, but it is very, very, very nice, and it's highly successful in what it intends to do, which is, of course, be a direct competitor to Axe, and just smell really, really nice on the cheap. So 3 out of 5. I'm going to go 1 on each wrist and then 1 in the center of the chest for this 2019 Propa Cologne release. Boom. 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 3 out of 5. There you have it, another review by the boards. I have really enjoyed reviewing this one for you. I hope you are doing well, and always remember, my friends, fragrance marks the celebration of today. Take care, everybody. Let me start off by saying this channel is approaching its 1,000th subscriber. So thank you very, very much. After all of these years, I will finally reach 1,000 subscribers in the time it takes most people to get about, 8 weeks. But that said, I am a small yet spirited channel with new content every single Friday, and I really appreciate all of your support. As I said before, like you, I am on a limited budget, so I really like to do one fragrance reviews and be rather quite persnickety. Indeed. And give a thorough review because I want to assess if I really do want to purchase a particular fragrance. So I'm not an infomercial. I really don't care for that kind of thing. I'm not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. That is the advantage when some of your episodes have 22 views, my friends. I am not sponsored indeed. So thank you. If this is your first episode with me, welcome aboard. I really appreciate that. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, if you watch me on your phone or not, make sure you smash that notification bell. But especially if you check me out on your phone, there have been some changes recently to that. So check me out each week. I really enjoy what I do. If you don't have anything to say about this particular fragrance, you just like watching the episode, always let me know your scent of the day. I enjoy reviewing anything from, I've reviewed something, check this out. I reviewed something as inexpensive as Axe, all the way up to Jubilation 25 by Amouage and a number of Creeds. Like Creed Viking is what, $440 a bottle. So I reviewed anything from Axe body spray up until Creed Viking. I will absolutely review anything. I enjoy doing that so very much. So